the power of tax cuts, and I think the tax cuts that we passed earlier in this decade have done a lot to fuel our economy. But we need to do more to remove the obstacles that make it hard for small businesses to succeed. And we need to do more to keep money in the pockets of our hard-working families. It's time we caught up with the other states in our region and repealed the business equipment tax. This tax is a huge disincentive for any company in Montana wanting to expand and for any company looking at Montana to come to this state and start a new business. Whether it's a farm, a ranch, a local printing shop, or a high-tech company, we shouldn't be taxing the very equipment that those businesses need to operate. I also believe it's time to provide permanent property tax relief for Montana families. Now, despite the record surpluses that we had in the last legislative session, Montanans didn't get any tax breaks. Instead, some Montanans got a one-time only rebate, which, by the way, you had to pay income taxes on. This shouldn't be a major debate. When families around the state are working 2 or more jobs just to keep the lights on, we shouldn't be making it harder for them to keep a roof over their heads. Now, you know, from the very beginning of this race, I pledged to run the most honest, most accountable operation that anyone has seen in the history of Montana. And from the very beginning, my campaign has kept that pledge. That's what I've fought for in the legislature, and that's what I will continue to fight for as your governor. Now, I speak to a lot of people in coffee shops and kitchen tables around the state, and a lot of the folks that I talk to are concerned. Not just concerned, they're ashamed and embarrassed. It's been a rough patch over the last few weeks, and it's not time to mince words or dance around the issues. I believe one of the biggest problems in government is, and not just state government, but across the board, is integrity. There are an awful lot of people that don't have faith in our government and what it's doing, and they're losing faith in the process. They're concerned that the people that they elect are serving only their special interests and not the public's special interests. A lot of talk has been settled, a lot of this talk that I've heard has settled around our government. And I have to tell you, I'm one of those folks that's pretty upset about what's been going on. First, it was breaking state ethics laws and using state resources for a self-promoting public service announcement. Then we heard that his senior counsel was trying to sway the man charged into looking into investigating the ethics complaint. And now we hear that the governor's remarks about bragging that he rigged the election in 2006 in favor of John Teskey, all at the expense and credibility of our county election officials and tribal police. To top that, we learned this week that the taxpayers funded the very trip that the governor made to Philadelphia, where those disparaging remarks were made. I can tell you I am not amused, and it is not acceptable behavior from a public official. The governor will probably stand up here and tell you that I'm mudslinging and that he thinks that this was all just a big joke. And I'm sorry, Governor, but I don't think the elections process is a big joke. This is very serious business, and the governor's comments have gone a long way to shatter the public confidence in our electoral system. And unfortunately, we have a long way to go to restore that faith. There are a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm hoping that the governor will step forward and open his office to every scrutiny and put these justified concerns for Montanans to rest. Ultimately, the people want a governor who will lead our state and fight for the interests of Montanans, a governor who will represent us with dignity, one who will be an ambassador for Montana, not an embarrassment. From the beginning of this campaign, I pledged to everyone, I am running this race to promote Montana, not myself. And that theme I will carry out as your next governor. You know, it's getting down to the end of this election, And I can tell you it gets pretty grueling out there on the campaign trail, but there is too much at stake to sit on the sidelines. And I've taken on this fight because I love this state. And I don't doubt that many of you right here in this room have had similar experience in your lives. Nobody gets involved in a nonprofit organization to strike it rich. And I want to just take a moment to thank each and every one of you for your efforts you have undertaken on behalf of the folks that you are serving. I know in my personal life that Montana nonprofits serve a vital role in our communities. I've been involved with nonprofits on a volunteer basis, and I know that you do everything from healthcare services to museums, conservation efforts, and much, much more. These are efforts that continue to better the quality of our life and our states. Now, I said from the very beginning that I'm a small businessman, and I'm not going to pretend I know everything about what you do running a nonprofit organization. But there are a few things I do know. In particular, I know that the success depends on the success of our economy and the financial well-being of Montanans. The difference is that when times are tough, many nonprofits see more folks coming to them in need of assistance or services when the resources are dwindling at the same time. It's in the spirit of community and friendship that makes Montana so special to all of us. It's one of the truly amazing things about living in Montana. Montanans are some of the most generous people in the country, and we hear a lot of talk about Montana's natural resources, but the greatest natural resource Montana has is its people. I can tell you that as your next governor, I'm going to do everything I can to strengthen Montana's economy. I'll do everything I can to empower families and give them the resources in their pocketbooks each month. I'll do everything I can to help small businesses succeed and grow. And I'm not going to turn a blind eye to the rising costs of goods and services. I won't ignore the high prices of gas and food. And I won't talk about all the jobs I've created as the unemployment rate goes sky high. My administration will be long on production and short on press conferences. I'm a workhorse, not a show horse. And I'm running for governor because I want to spend every day focused on making the lives of Montanans just a little bit better, to create more opportunities for our young people to stay here and to give them a chance to raise their families in this place they call home. So before I step away from this podium, I want to take a moment to thank you for your service to our communities, to our state, and to our nation. You stand in the gap for so many people across the state. And I want you to know that when you elect me as your next governor, Montana will be my first and only priority. You won't find me ignoring issues because I'm playing politics on both sides of the constituencies. You won't find me traveling the country promoting my own ingenuity. You will find me working every day to do everything I can to make Montana a better place to live. I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to be with you today to share some thoughts about my future for our state. And I want to leave you with one promise. My office will always be open and accessible. There won't be a credential check at the door. There won't be a campaign donation required to have entrance. It will be an open door, and inside that door will be an open and fair mind. It won't be my way or the highway. My way is to get the brightest minds in a room and come up with the best solutions for Montana. It's a completely different